Hello everyone, Helen here. How are you doing? I hope you're ready just to have a nice relaxing sip while I chatter away to you today. Last couple of podcasts have been in the camper van and thought it was time we just had a little bit of a catch up. And so just sit back and relax. Thank you for returning if you've been here lots of times before. And if you're new, then you're very welcome indeed. I live in Durham in the northeast of England, and my podcast is just about all of the things that I love doing and sharing with you. And one of the things that I really love is reading the comments that some of you write after each podcast. And I just wanted to share some with you today. Because from a couple of episodes in particular, the one about finding joy in summer and then another one about the magic of trees, because there were some really lovely comments. Thank you to everybody who commented. There were some that really stuck out, and I made a note in my podcasting notebook here. So that I could share them with you. But first of all, in the Finding Joy in Summer podcast, I'd made a little box which I decorated, and I made it into a summer sensory box. So I put in 5 things, one for each of my 5 senses, that would remind me of summer. You know, if I open the box in the middle of winter, then it'll really bring back the really joyful parts about summer. And so I asked, when I did that little bit of video, then I asked at the end of that, what would you put in your sensory box? And there were such lovely ideas, and some were really imaginative and would just go into a virtual box, not into a real box. So my YouTube friend Penny from Penelope's Tinwag, she said that she would put a springing jack inside her box, so like a little jack in the box, because in the summer, because she likes all of the light and the long days, and she likes to spring out of bed in the morning and just get on with the day. And so that was really lovely. And she also said that it was the idea of her feeling free and kind of enjoying the warmth and being outside and things. So that was really lovely. Somebody called, I don't know if you're Liz or Elizabeth, Liz Stitches, you said that in your box you would put the sounds of cicadas and lawn sprinklers and frogs and birds, and you would put in the smells of cut grass and charcoal briquettes and petrichor, that's a lovely word, and I think I only really learnt about it a couple of years ago. And just in case you don't know what petrichor is, I'm sure lots of you do. It was new to me, in recent times. It's the smell that you get when you go outside and it's just rained after some dry weather. At least I think that's what it is anyway. Anyway. So Karen, you said that in your summer sensory box you would put dragonflies. This is a lovely one. A ripe raspberry, a freshly picked, and put it in your box while it was still warm. That's such a lovely image. You said you would put in a bloom from one of your snowball hydrangeas, and the fragrance of a tree that I haven't heard of before, a basswood tree, or the blossoms, the fragrance of the blossoms from that tree, and also the sound of hummingbirds. And I know, Karen, that you like feeding your hummingbirds, don't you? You've told me that before, that you put out some sugary syrup for the hummingbirds to feed on. What a lovely picture that gives me. Dawn from the Dawn's Days YouTube channel said, these would fit in a box. She said she would put in a little bit of sand from the seaside, and this is quoting directly, she would put in a bumblebees that had buzzed their last buzz. Isn't that lovely? That's really nice, because Dawn particularly likes bees, so that's would be a good thing for her box. And then Shari had a whole list of things. She would need quite a big box for her things, but it was a virtual box again. She liked the sound of air conditioning, insects singing. She'd like to put in some iced herbal tea, some grilled hamburgers, her own handmade summer dresses, sleeveless dresses, or cotton t-shirts in bright colours, and some flip-flops, and fresh produce, and lots of crafting as well. So that's lovely. What a lot of things in your summer sensory box. So thank you, and thank you to everybody who did comment. And as I always say, don't worry if you don't comment either. It's just lovely that you sit there and spend time with me, keep me company. That's really nice. Yeah. So, and then in the episode after that, I kind of had a bit of a focus on trees, and I was showing you my tree scrapbook and how I did the front cover, and shared some really interesting facts about oak trees. And so again, there were some lovely comments there. Even just a couple of you, I think it was Michelle and Angela, yes, who said you just loved living in a place where you had trees all around you, at the woodland and trees, and it is lovely. That's really nice. I haven't quite got lots of trees right outside my house, but I'll just go a little walk into the woods. But it must be so lovely to to be surrounded by trees. And oh yes, Denise, you told me that a lovely story, which was that your husband planted a pin oak, and one of the many types of oak that there are, on your son's first birthday. And now Denise's son is 39, and of course the oak tree is so much higher, taller than her son. So that's really nice, isn't it? So the tree has flourished, obviously, and hopefully your son has too. Penny told me that her husband Pete, when he was a boy, used to collect acorns. Obviously, the acorns that were on a little bit of a stalk, or were attached to a twig, and he and his friends used to pretend that they were pipes. So no smoking pipes. And yes, Karen told me lots of interesting things about trees. One of them was that her husband had a go at turning acorns into flour, because that was one of the facts that I shared with you, that you could turn it into flour, but he didn't quite manage to succeed in that. But I think the local wildlife enjoyed the products of his efforts anyway. And then another thing that Karen told me was that they had an oak in their garden. What kind of oak was it? A red oak next to the house, and it split right down the middle of it due to freezing water getting into it and expanding and causing it to split. And so it had to be taken down, but so that it was safe. And they had the wood from the tree turned into their kitchen cabinets. How lovely is that? So yeah, thank you for just those lovely little bits of information, and kind of a little bit of insight into your lives as well, and your thoughts about things. So that's really nice. So please, everybody, if you would like to keep commenting, I really love to read them. So yes, so on to crafty things. Well, really, after the intensity of Christmas in July, and I was very productive during July with all my Christmas things, things kind of fell by the wayside a bit in August. But it was just because I was so busy. Obviously, we went away in the camper van, and we had 2 lots of visitors, and what else? Oh yeah, and I did some summer holiday piano teaching as well, because in case you knew, I am a piano teacher as well, part-time, working at home. And I do take a break through the summer, but I do offer the odd, filling the gap, so it's not such a long break between summer term and the next term. Anyway, so it's not surprising really that I haven't had so much time to be doing crafting, but I certainly I've certainly been glad to have lots of small projects on the go. And when we had the very hot weather, even up here in the north of England, it became quite hot at times. So it was really nice just to have something small in my hands to make. And yes, so for Christmas in July, I made quite a number of Christmassy coloured mandalas, which I showed you. And so through August, I carried on making some mandalas, but in some different colours. So yeah, hopefully you can see some of them here. Yes, I just really enjoyed doing those. Oh, and if you watched last week's episode as well, you'll see that that's one of the things I took away with me in the camper van. So that was a nice project to have with me. But what have I finished? Not much else really. I have managed to complete my August gnome for the Year of Gnomes make along with Sarah Shearer's gnome patterns. This was as my most commonly used pattern, Never Not Gnoming, and I've just made him a nice bright rainbow hat and a stripy purple beard, and I used the medium size of the Never Not Knowing pattern, and it's just some scraps of Stylecraft Special DK. So I thought he's rather nice. I'm not sure that his body matches the rest of him. He's just very colourful, isn't he? Yes. So yeah, so he's lovely. And the only other finished project are these socks. And honestly, I think I actually started these back in March, and then I took an unintentional break from sock knitting, which is most unusual, but these things happen. Just go with the flow. Anyway, but I picked them back up again when we went off in the camper van, because as I said in last week's episode, they are a great project to have with you while you're travelling. So and I think those are gorgeous colours. It's the peacock colourway. Is it West Yorkshire Spinners? I think it is. I'll put it on the screen if I'm not right. And as usual, I do put things in the description box below if you want to know exactly, well, a few more details about what I'm doing. So yeah, so that's good. They will be going away in my gifts box, things that I will be giving to people. Let's put that there. And yeah, and the other things I've been making, yeah, all sorts of bits and bobs really. When my nieces came to as usual, we did quite a bit of crafting. I think that's probably mostly what we did. And yeah, Nell is 12 now and Libya's 9, so they're becoming extremely capable and kinds of things that I can do with them. And we did all sorts of paper crafts. We found some excellent YouTube videos to help us with those. And one thing that we tried was a little project I saw on Pinterest, which was to make some little wobbly characters using cardboard and bottle tops and blue tack. Actually it was white tack that we used, but, the stuff that you use for sticking things to the wall. And you just had to draw around the bottle top to make the body of the little character that you were going to make, and you could add a head as well. And so you had to cut that out, colour it in, and then you had to put a blob of blue tack in one half of the bottle top and then glue the bottle top to the back of the character, the cardboard character, and then it would stand up, and if you tapped it, it would rock from side to side. So I was really pleased with those. I don't know, it gave me a lot of joy. And I was very pleased with my little gnome that I drew. So yeah, I've put him with the knitted gnomes now. So another little gnome friend. Yeah, so that was one of the things we did. And then one afternoon we decided to do some sewing. It was really, really hot. And so yeah, we sat outside. I think nearly all of our crafting during that week was outside. We've got a big canvas shelter that will shade us from the sun, and also at other times protect us from the rain. Not that we've had a lot of rain, but anyway, yes. So the girls had really, really loved my little leaf sprites that I made when I did the 100-day project. and so I suggested to them they might like to make one of their own. So we gathered all of our materials and went and sat outside at the table in the garden and got busy with our sewing. And it was so hot that we each had a bowl of cold water for our feet, which was really nice. It really did help us to keep cool. And yeah, we just had a really lovely time sewing. Libby did especially well because she was learning to do whip stitch for the first time. So I think when we did felt projects last year, she was really just doing running stitch to join pieces together. But this year I showed her how to do whip stitch. So she did a really good job. They both did a lovely job of their leaf sprites. And I think they went away pretty happy with what they'd done. So that was really nice. And projects that I've got on the go, really, as I speak to you at the moment, I've only got the jumper that I started earlier this year, the Fenella sweater, which I'll not even show it to you this time, but I have finished the back and one sleeve, and I'm part way through another sleeve, and then I'll just have the front to do. But yeah, I think as the weather starts to cool down, I'll definitely be doing that one a bit more. And yeah, I need to think a bit more about my plans. In fact, yes, I'll come to that in just a minute. I think the only other thing I was going to tell you, sort of craft related thing, was just a little purchase that I made recently. I bought these, well actually I'll show you a photo, you can't really see that properly as they are, but it's a little set of tags. I've had my eye on these for a little while, and I bought these from the lovely Jeanette from Crafty Creations, from her Etsy shop, and they are a set of tags which they've each got the size of different sizes of knitting needles or crochet hooks, so ranging from 2mm up to 6mm. And so you can, and they have a little safety pin thing so you can attach it to things. And I'm going to find these really useful because most of the time I have lots of projects on the go, and sometimes when I start a new project, say this is particularly is with crochet, is that I'll start a new project and the only crochet hook of the right size that I can find is one that's in another bag. And so I take the crochet hook out and use it, and then sometimes I go back to the other project and can't quite remember what size crochet hook I wanted to use, or I was using, I mean, that I need to use. And so now I've got these, if I can then attach to the project or to the project bag the correct size that I was using on that particular project, and I don't have to try and remember which size I was using. So that's really great. And of course I went on Jeanette's shop to buy these, and of course you can't help looking around, and so I couldn't resist the temptation of buying this zipped pouch, Notions pouch. I just love the fabric, and sort of on the theme of summer, I just love the seashells fabric there, so that's really good. And I just find that you can't have too many zipped pouches, can you? Really? No, I can't. I'm always looking for another pouch for something or other. So it's beautifully made as well. So I'm very happy with those. So that's that. I think that's all the making. Yeah. So when I kind of came into a bit of a lull with making things, with projects, I went back to looking in my bullet journal for this year at the start of the year, and one of the very first pages that I did was projects that I'd like to start this year. And I looked down this list, and I can't show you this, by the way, because there's one or two things on it even that I want to make for other people. But I haven't made anything from that list. There's one of the things on there that I had a go at 3 times and failed. That was the Bits and Bobs cowl. But I couldn't get the pattern right, so that was rejected. But nothing else on the list. And then 2 or 3 pages later, there is page, I've said my 2022 wish list, hoping I'll find time to do these things here. And again, I haven't really touched upon many at all. I think the only things I've done really is to write some more stories and poems and to take part in the 100-day project this year. The other things I haven't done, and maybe lower down on the page is to go for more days out. So yeah, I think I've done that, but nothing else. And it would be quite easy to just start beating yourself up, wouldn't it, when you've made these lists? But you know, they weren't actual fixed targets, and you know, or resolutions. They weren't New Year's resolutions. They were just things I hoped I would find time for, and it's useful to have them there just to remind me so that they don't get forgotten forever. But you know, actually, if some of them don't get done, it doesn't matter. It just means, you know, my interests have gone elsewhere. Still, you know, now that I am in a bit of a lull, then, you know, I can pick something from the list to make a start on. And the thing that I really, really wanted to do most from the list of projects I wanted to start was to make a proggy mat. And I'd had in mind when I put it on the list that I would do it during the summer. And now, well, the summer's almost over and I haven't started it yet. But I'm not giving up hope on that. I might do that after I've been away again in the camper van and come back. So I hope I'll be able to make a start on that and share it with you. So yes, but there we go. I mean, I haven't been sitting around twiddling my thumbs. It's just that I haven't actually done many things from the lists that I made. And I think when you're someone who has so many interests and things they love doing, it's quite hard not to get distracted onto other projects and things. So anyway, never mind. So I think let's go off into the kitchen and do a bit of baking. Now, quite a few episodes ago, I think it was even maybe more than 10 episodes ago, 10 weeks ago, I thought, oh, I'll do a little series of me baking things that I've never baked before. And so the first part of that was to make a Swiss roll, which I showed you, and that was actually quite successful. So I thought, right, I must get back to doing that and doing something that's new to me and I can show you how I get on. So I decided to go to one of my favourite recipe books, the Biro book, and look through and thought, well, you know, lots of the things in that book I've made lots and lots of times, but there are certain things which I have never ever made in all the years that I've had a Biro book. And one of the things was a different kind of pastry. I love making pastry, but I always make short crust pastry, nothing else. And so I saw in there that there was some rough puff pastry, and which is not the full kind of layered flaky pastry, which actually in the Biro book, of that sort is called, which I would call puff pastry, is called flaky pastry. But the one that I was going to try was rough puff pastry, which I think is meant to be kind of a halfway point between short crust and flaky or puff pastry. So yeah, so I decided to have a go at making that pastry, and then of course I didn't want to just make the pastry, I wanted to make something out of it. And so I decided to make some currant slices, which are in the Biro book and which I have made before, but with just short crust pastry. And so it was really nice to make them with the actual pastry, it said, and sort of taste how they were different to the ones I'd made before. And yeah, so let's see how I got on. I'll show you how I got on in the kitchen. So I didn't do too bad a job of that. They tasted really, really nice. And you can see in the photo that there are the little layers of pastry, and they really have got a lovely crisp bite to them. So yeah, so definitely another success. And I think next time I'm going to try the next sort of the most flaky pastry, the one in the Biro book that's called Flaky. And yeah, see how I get on with that one. So yes, anyway, I've been chatting on for quite a long time today, so I am going to wind things up now and just hope that you are going to keep nice and busy and take really good care of yourself. And I'll be back again soon to have a chat with you. Right, okay, so see you soon. Bye.